Lou, I was asking Mark just about the nights that you guys don't have your fastball but are still able to win the game, be in the game. Do you feel like there are things that you guys are doing this year and over the last few years you've done at a higher level on those nights where you don't quite have it your best? And what do you think some of those things are that you're doing at a higher level?
Um, in those type of moments, we just got to figure it out and do whatever we got to do to execute defensively that can give us a little bit of juice, or have someone do a big play or hustle play for us to get more energy, more momentum. But when we're in those positions, we just got to figure it out. It's just got to be defense and then find a way to get going.
Do you feel like there are moments of like recognition that are happening faster than maybe they were 2 years ago, or they're catalysts for those types of moments that are happening more frequently?
Yeah, I mean, we every time we're in the timeout, we regroup and we talk about what we can do to improve. We do whatever that can get us going in the games and stuff like that. But it's also the group of guys that we have, and it's becoming easier to figure it out now just because of the chemistry we have with the team. So yeah.
You've been asked at length about just your change in shot selection this year compared to past years, but just emotionally, just something like that, a refinement like that, which I imagine, is somewhat mental, mostly mental. Just is that scary at all? Digging into that process, like what is that process like
To what?
mentally to go about changing your shot selection?
Oh my. Oh no, it's not. It's not really hard. It's for the best of the team, and it's for the best of me at the same time too. Just being more efficient and doing everything I can do to help my team. When I take bad shots, it doesn't help my team, and it doesn't help me either. You know what I mean? So, it's just that playing inside the game and in our system, and it's been good for me and the team.
Yeah, and so now you're top 25 in the league in 3-point efficiency as well as with a few of the other guys on the team. Just when you think about the shots you've taken this year, when you look back, maybe I don't know how many of those shots hang in your mind, but when you look back at the shots you took in past year, just what do you think in terms of comparison and whatnot?
I used to take some wild shots. Yeah, that's it. That's that simple. I used to take some wild shots, and you know, credit to my trainers and the staff here. I watched a lot of film. It took some time to get there, but I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm gonna keep taking good shots.
For the group recently, the offensive rebounds, the second chance points have gone up a little bit. You've had a couple of really, really good ones. Has that been an emphasis for you personally as well, trying to look for those opportunities?
Yeah, it's been one for the whole team, not just for me. Like Gallo said, this is kind of the hustle plays whenever we can't really get going, and just having extra possession is huge. So we're always gonna send guys to the glass and trying to get extra possession.
Sometimes it's not even just a board. Like sometimes you're just kind of punching the ball back out to keep that possession going. Just how valuable are those possessions
It's
for you?
huge. I mean, I'm going against some tall guys where I know I can't really get grab the rebound, so it's easy for me just to tap it out. And good thing that there's always someone back there that I can grab it and we can get that extra possession.
And then I wanted to ask you about Kaysen. He just continues to kind of surprise people with the way he's able to get blocks, steals, deflections sometimes. What have you noticed from him and his growth this season on that end of the floor?
I mean, he's a dog, man. He got great hands and he got a good feel just defensively, just knowing when to gap and go for those balls and blocks. And he's not that tall, the biggest guy on the court, but like he's gonna hustle and do everything to get those type of steals or blocks or whatever. So it's huge. It's big for the team when he does that.
You guys are, I think, second in the league in steals. You all get them kind of in different ways, and it seems like the ones Kenrich gets are really different. I think he had one in Memphis where he just kind of grabbed the ball out of somebody's hands and ripped it away. Do you ever react like, damn, when he does stuff like that? Because it seems like he's the one that's usually making those steals very differently.
Yeah, I mean, Karish always gonna make the crazy hustle plays like that where it's unexpected and everybody's like, oh, Karish really did that, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's just who Karish is. He's always gonna play hard and compete and hustle.
You have been teammates with Shea for quite a while now. Where have you seen the most growth from Shea over the years?
I would probably say his leadership, just him being vocal, him getting us going before games and stuff like that has been huge, and just how he approached games at the same time it's really big, and us as teammates we see that we just can't wait to go to battle with him, and then it's been impressive.
How about you? About your shooting? I know there are a lot of factors that getting it makes you get better. But is there anything actually that the chip give you some advice?
Chip, I mean, well, Chip has so many stories and advice to give on the shot, and he's been doing great with all the guys here on some little tricks or little things to change. And then Chip's out down a couple times, and we spoke about my shooting, and we worked on it too. So it's been with Chip and my trainer Fez too. So it's been great. I mean, I can't complain. I feel way more confident and comfortable shooting the ball.
Lou, as the season winds down, you guys are going to the playoffs, contention for the 1 seed. How do you sort of balance like getting prepared for that, making sure you guys are well rested enough while also like chasing the 1 seed?
We just going game by game. We focusing on the next game. Wherever we play, we gonna focus on them. I know it's getting close to the postseason, but we still gotta finish season first. So we'll focus on that, and we got the Utah next tomorrow.
Especially with what happened.
Last one.
Sorry, especially with what happened to Chet last year. There's a lot of different ways that this first year for him could have gone. The fact that it's gone this well, did you have a sense that would be the case? Getting to know him last year, was there anything? Were you even sort of uncertain heading into the year what it would be like? What did you think about
I
this?
didn't have a sense. You never know what can happen, but just the fact that I saw him sideline the whole year last season, and he couldn't really do anything, but he wanted to be out there with us and to see how he couldn't wait to be out there. So now it's just great that he really attacked the program. He did everything in his recovery stuff to be able to play that many games this season. So, I'm really happy for him. It's not cool when you miss the whole season, but it's great when you come back even stronger and better and you play a damn near full season.
I've had nights where you haven't had your fastball. Are there things that you guys are, the controllables that you guys are doing at a higher level this year to keep you in games than maybe you had last year or the year before?
Well, I think that's a mark of a good team is, there's going to be nights, and fastball really refers to shot making. There's a variance to shot making, and we've shot the ball well for a lot of the year. That's contributed to having a good season, but there's also been nights where we haven't, and that's where defense, winning the possession battle, getting manufacturing shots, like getting a couple easy ones maybe. That's where that stuff shows up: offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding.
Have there been catalysts or moments or players that have contributed to that, maybe at a higher level this year?
It would be hard to single anybody out. I think everybody has shown a pretty good commitment to those types of things in their own way. For some guys, it might be, Kenrich Williams, it might be going and getting an offensive rebounds. For Wiggins, it might be a cut. For Shea, it might be a deflection. It's different for everybody, but everybody's contributing.
Mark, because you've already played so many games, I imagine a lot of the questions that need to be answered can only be answered in the postseason. But I won't be presumptive. Is there anything you're still looking for in these last, however many games?
Well, I mean, the first thing is just like firming up our habits, and making sure that the screws are tight there. That's a never-ending battle in terms of fighting against slippage. And making sure that our stuff is really, really tight. Something as simple in the Memphis game, we had 4 or 5 fouls at the end of possessions. A guy would drive, and we have like a hand discipline foul. We just reach in, slap the guy, put him on the line, or give him an and-1, and that's like literally the first thing you do in training camp every day, or every year. And so even that in game 67 or 68 or whatever, is still not where it needs to be. So you tighten that back up, and then there'll be another leak, and so that's a never-ending process. But I think the more we can firm those things up, the tighter we get with our habits. That's the main thing. And then tactically looking at some different things, lineups, looking at some different things, continuing to uncover everything we can about the team. But building the habits is number one always.
Yeah, and just looking at this final stretch, it's one of the tougher remaining schedules probably in the league. You haven't played the Bucks at all. You still have them on the slate. I just wonder, when you see these final however many games, what you see.
Well, every game's a different challenge. I mean, we're going to play teams that are out of the playoffs, that are eliminated, and that's a challenge because you're playing against a loose opponent that has a lot to play for in the game against us. And then you're going to play elevated games against teams that are playoff bound and that are also trying to sharpen their blade. And those are awesome games for us, because usually they have an elevated feel to them. A lot of teams are jostling for position. I thought the Dallas game felt like that the other night. It was a motivated opponent that schemed for us. And that felt like an elevated game, and those are good games for us to play in, to continue to test ourselves, learn about where we're strong, where we're vulnerable, and continue to push forward.
At this point in the season, just having 3 days without a game, just how much value does that hold with this group?
It was mostly for rest. We had a really good practice today, but we rested Sunday, and then we had a very light day yesterday as well. So a lot of it was just trying to put gas back in the tank, and then a sharp day today. But we have a tough schedule coming up, not only with opponents, but it's pretty condensed down the stretch with a lot of road games as well. And so we were just trying to get everybody feeling good, heal the bumps and bruises that come up through the course of the season. Everybody practiced today. We have a healthy team, which is great at this point in the year. So.
And I wanted to ask you about J-Dub. He missed that game with that ankle injury, but since then, 2 games with 20 or more points, but really just all-around impact on the game. Just what have you noticed about him over these last couple of games?
Yeah, he hit the ground running. He wasn't out long enough to really decondition or anything. So I actually think it gave him a little bit of a blow, and also allowed the ankle to heal fully. He probably could have played on it, at the game he missed, but it was wise to hold him out of that. And he came back, in really good form. He's obviously played very well.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Some of Kenrich's steals are just him straight up ripping the ball out of people's hands. It's kind of jarring in comparison to a lot of them. Are they jarring to you at all when you're standing there on the sideline?
He just plays with great intensity. He just brings great intensity to every possession and energy, and he's got a contagiousness about him that the team feeds off of and has for a long time. He's a fearless competitor. He's willing to get scored on. He's willing to get beat. There's a vulnerability to the way that he plays that I think is kind of the essence of competition, and that's an example of it. It doesn't matter who he's guarding. He's going to go in there and really try to impact the game, impact the ball.
Looking back to training camp, speaking of Kaysen, when you guys first brought him in, did you imagine that he would be, the type of player that can, in his first season, close games, be that type of, riser as the game goes on?
You never really know, with a player. I think it's just, we obviously evaluate them and acquire them, and Sam does a great job of that. But then once they get here, a lot of it's about baselining, figure out where they're at to start, what they're doing well, where they're falling behind, what they can add, how they impact the game. And then, they dictate kind of where they start. And then that's where you start the process of developing and building from there. And he started at a pretty high floor because of his competitiveness, his defense, his reliability, and has developed. He's a quick study as well, and he's developed quickly. But the player sets the pace of that. We don't necessarily set the pace of that. And so he's cleared a lot of hurdles this year, and has been tested in a lot of ways, and has cleared those pretty well. And even when he slips and when he has a bad game or makes a mistake, he's pretty quick to recover and get it back on track. And so he's had a very impressive first season. He's off to a really good start.
Yeah, and I don't know the exact numbers on this, but you guys have been one of the healthier teams in the league. I imagine just the starters alone haven't missed probably combined more than 15 games. Just do you talk about that at all with the guys? Do you frame that at all in terms of the league landscape and what that's meant for the season?
I mean, there's 2 things that go into that. There's luck, and then there's diligence and work. And you can't control the luck. Chet's sitting over there. He gets stepped on, has a fracture in his foot, and he's out for the season. That's bad luck. There's really nothing you can do there. And so that's part of it. Dub steps on the cameraman the other night, ankle sprain, misses a game, bad luck. But there's a lot you can control. And our players have high commitment levels. They follow the plan. They put in a lot of extra work to activate before they play, before they practice. They do their recovery. They lift 10 times a month in season, sometimes after games for some guys. They work incredibly hard to tilt the luck in their favor. And that combined with good luck this season, and we've had a great availability, probably one of the best in the league.
Mark, where do you see Gordon's conditioning right now, and also how is he progressing within the system?
His conditioning looks fine. I think he's kind of got a steady energy on the floor, so he looks about in form right now. And I thought he's done a good job in the system. I mean, he's done a good job of being additive without being over aggressive. And he's really done a good job of trying to fit into what we're already doing. I think that was a bit of an adjustment for him. Stylistically, this is different for him than the different systems he's played in, different teammates he's played with. And then he's doing it mid-season. So it's different when you have a training camp and you can practice 15 times and have preseason games. And there's a very natural training camp's designed for that build-up. So a player like Cason Wallace, the camp is going to catch him up and he's going to be on the same pace as everybody else. When you add a person mid-season, they don't get that. They had that somewhere else. And so they kind of have to jump on the train while it's moving. And he's done a good job of that and looks more and more comfortable and confident. He's playing well in his minutes. I've been impressed by how he's handled it.
You guys have improved as a three-point shooting team over the years. What do you just think of Chip England's impact there over his time here?
He's got a lot of wisdom. He's got a very simple approach to it. He works very intimately with a few players, and I think he's done a great job there. But it's the cumulative effect of a lot of things. And, some of it is the individual improvement guys have made. The staff that has worked with the players hasn't been limited to Chip. All of our players work with all of our coaches. All of our coaches have worked really hard to learn more about skill acquisition, which, shooting is probably number one on that list. And then some of the shooting improvement is shots we're not taking. Everybody talks about the improvement of the shots you're taking and making, but a guy like Dort, we've talked ad nauseum about, but he's shooting 40% as much because of his improvement as a shooter, but also because of the ones he's laying off of. And I think we've done a really good job as a team of identifying what a good shot is for us and being committed to those cross. And so I think that's had something to do with it as well.
Mark, Shea finished fifth last season.
Who are you?
I'm the new guy. Shea finished fifth last season for MVP. He's going to finish no lower than second this year. I think the main case for him is just the win-loss record this year compared to last year. But besides that number, do you see tangible ways in which he's even improved his value to your team from where he was a year ago?
Yeah, independent of, I will say this with the award season and all that, what he's done in his career to this point and what he's done for our team this season doesn't need to be validated by an award.
Mm-hmm.
It stands on its own 2 feet. If he wins it, great, and that's downstream of our team and him. But if he doesn't win it, it doesn't take anything away from the impact that he's had or the player he's turned himself into. So we're not really attached to those things. We're more attached to our work and our process. But what he's done defensively the last 2 years. It hasn't just been this year. The last 2 seasons he's taken a major jump as a defender. He has continually honed his efficiency. Year over year, he just becomes more and more efficient. So as the usage goes up or as the points per game go up, the efficiency doesn't drop. That's very impressive. He's not just collecting numbers. And then the other thing I'll say is he's done all of that in a way that has allowed the rest of the guys to elevate. He's not played in a way that has diminished the team as a whole or other individual players. You're seeing other individual players rise alongside him, which is what I think great players do, is they allow, not only do they make other people better, but they allow other people to be better with the space they create, both interpersonally with the team and with how they play. And he's done that not only with, I think when I say that, people think of, guys like Chet or Dub, but he's done that with almost everybody is having a great season, in the role that they're in. And that space has to be created by the guy that has the ball the most, and he's created that space. So for our team, major impact in those areas, not to mention what he's done chemistry-wise off the floor with the guys.
Just to follow up on the defensive point you made, seems like with simple box score stats like steals, it seems like sometimes we overvalued them, but now there's a lot of prominent people in the analytics community that thinks we're undervaluing steals and just how important they are. Do you have any thoughts on that? Just as far as Shea leading the league in that category?
Yeah, I will say, how many does he have? Do you know?
2.1.
2.1 per game.
So we've played 60 games, so 62.1 is 120-ish he probably has. That's more than a full game of the season that have ended on 0 points for the other team because we have the ball. You know, like that's a full game. You know, there's 105 possessions in a game. He's got 120 steals. So one full game of defense is represented with them getting 0 points at the end of the possession because he's stolen the ball. That's the value of a steal. Whereas with shot distribution, you're trying to play for percentages. You're trying to take a 40% 3-point shot and lower it to 37. And the cumulative effect over that over the course of the season makes you a better defense. But when you steal the ball, you know, it squashes down to 0.
Yeah.
You're not like playing on the margins. And so steals are valuable. You know, when a possession ends with 0 points for the other team, and we've led the league in turnovers, or we're up there. So winning that battle has been a huge part of our defense. It's given us some margin for error in other areas. So that's huge. It's also not the only thing. If it was the only thing, we would just be out here teaching how to steal the ball, you know, and we don't necessarily design our system to yield that. We design our system to be disruptive and to force teams to plan B. And we think that if we do that, we'll lower the efficiency of the shots, lower the quality of the shots, where they're shooting them from, who's shooting them, and then we'll hopefully turn people over as well.